package tonight. Governor no tax PDP ward executives on loyalty, commitment to party ideals. Prelate Emeritus of Presbyterian Church of Nigeria celebrates 90th birthday, 60th marriage anniversary. Public administrators call for proper training of civil servants, deployment of modern technologies in governance. Plus, Nigeria Communications Commission directs telecoms operators to restore blocked phone lines. We have details of this and other stories shortly. A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us. I am Juliet Richard, and I begin by telling you that Governor Moino has tasked elected executive in the just concluded World Congress of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Akwa Ibom State to ensure absolute loyalty and commitment to the ideals of the party at the grassroots. The governor, who is also the leader of the party in the state, gave the task while speaking with journalists at his Ibiakpan Obotem Ward 2, Nserubium local government area, where he participated in the exercise. A government house reporter, Patience John, completes the story.
Governor commended members of the People's Democratic Party across the state for maintaining decorum and ensuring smooth and successful conduct of the World Congress across the state, while charging the newly elected officers to live up to expectations in line with the confidence reposed on them by the fellow party members. He described the exercise as the beginning of building a new structure for the party and cautioned the executives and members against administration of oath on anyone other than oath of office and allegiance to serve the party.
To thank God for very peaceful. We in the PDP, we don't fight. We don't carry dagger. We don't carry sword. We just come. Everything is well organized and transparent, like we have seen. Now we have started the process of setting up a brand new structure for the party. And we please request that all our team, all our people that have been elected will do their work, will be loyal to the party. Don't go and take oath from anybody, because the only oath that you have been given is the one that you have been sworn into office. Don't go and take oath. Kuku tambia muno wondo moke. Kido what it. Marupa upang toyin mi ban mi dendufo. Wagus reke party udo party eberumi aforumi. Okay, atambia mano wo. And the party is supreme.
The state chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Elder Anekarakpan, corroborated the reports from returning officers in the various wards, indicating that the process was peaceful and smooth, affirming the readiness of the party to participate in and win the upcoming local government elections.
This is our governor's ward, and I had to run down after monitoring and going to my ward to throughout the local governments, all the wards. We've received reports from our returning officers that everything went well, very peaceful, and no adverse report whatsoever.
The elected chairman of Ibiakpan Obotem Ward 2, Mr. Jephthah Tom, in his reaction thanked the leaders and members of the party for trusting him with the responsibility of leading the ward and promised to work in tandem with the party's directives and guidelines.
God Almighty for giving me this opportunity to serve my people in the ward, and also thank His Excellency for setting aside time to come and queue behind me and all the support. I thank him so much, all the support he has given to me during and after the election. I thank him so much, and we pledge our unflinching loyalty to support the party and be committed members of the party and work in accordance with the rules, regulation of the party and guidelines.
Patience Joe, Akbc News.
The Prelate Emeritus of the Presbyterian Church Nigeria, Dr. Udo Ikpeyon, has been gifted a car by Governor Moino to mark his 90th birthday and 60th wedding anniversary. Governor Moino was accompanied by his deputy, Senator Akuneyayi, and other dignitaries to the events which took place at the Uyo Parish of the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria, 73 Wellington Basiwe Uyo, also known as the Glass Church. A Government House reporter, Patience John, has more details.
At the Thanksgiving service to mark the 90th birthday of Dr. Udo Ikpeyon, Governor Ino described the attainment of 90 years and the celebration of 60 years in marriage as a rare feat, congratulated the couple for living exemplary lives and for impacting the church positively.
Campaign, you were there all of the time, and I remember your prayers for us always. So we are here today to try to say thank you and to thank God for you. Let me start by wishing you on behalf of the government and people of Akbc State a happy 90th birthday. We thank God for the gift of long life, good health, continuous blessings the Lord has bestowed upon your life. You have been a vessel of blessings to multitude of Christian adherents, especially the members of the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria. Some of our parents in the Lord have told us what we think will make you happy. And so we've asked the Secretary to Government to ensure that in the next 2 weeks, he will deliver to you a saloon car.
The celebrator, His Eminence Dr. Udo Ikpeyon, while thanking God for his life, attributed the success he has recorded to the grace of God and expressed gratitude to Governor Ino for honoring him.
Let me say this, Governor, that I am a certificate holder of the PDP. Number in PDP in my own unit is number 359.
Preaching on the theme, Celebration of a Great Man, the prelate and moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Nigeria, His Eminence Dr. Ikpeyon Okpanika, said that true greatness goes beyond acquisition of material things and admonished Christians to seek peace with God at all times.
What kind of inheritance will you leave for your children? A good name is better. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children, but the wealth of a sinner is stored up for the righteous.
The Thanksgiving service featured cutting of the 90th birthday and the 60th marriage anniversary cake, as well as the unveiling of the book, Faith and Devotion, My Spiritual Journey. Patience John, Akbc News.
A 3-day fourth annual international conference of the Association of Public Administration of Nigeria has ended in Abiokpa, Oroganam local government area of Akwa Ibom State. The conference, which was declared open by Governor Moino, drew participants across higher institutions in the country and public administration practitioners. The report.
The conference was on the theme Public Administration, an Antidote to Socio-Economic Problems Confronting Nigeria. Explaining the essence of the conference, the host and head of Department of Public Administration, Akwa Ibom State University, Obiokpa campus, where the participants converged, Dr. Imoy Moita noted that public administration professionals are strategic instruments for the implementation of government visions all over the world. He explained that one of the banes of sustainable development in Nigeria is that government has not given adequate thought to academic work and called for a change of attitude for sustainable development to thrive in the country. Meanwhile, the communique issued at the end of the conference, read by Chairman of the Communique Drafting Committee, Professor Udoinyang, with Akwa Ibom State University, noted that the goal of governance can only be achieved when those charged with the responsibility of making and implementing policies and programs are honest and committed to their duties.
To mitigate the difficult times that the country is involved in, it was observed that 4 major transformation clusters be considered. These are cultural transformation, human transformation, political transformation, and organizational transformation. This will certainly take Nigeria out of the present socio-economic crisis.
The communique also called on government to adopt a more transparent approach in governance and invest in capacity building of public servants and foster the culture of accountability and service delivery through exemplary leadership. It also recommended that only people of impeccable credentials and competence should be employed to public service, and that such employment should be based strictly on merit and not primordial considerations.
Public administration takes the center stage of government's efforts in governance and administration. With this, the association should bring up insights to solving Nigerian problems at every level to settle the economic and social malaise plaguing the country at this time.
In the same vein, the communique further recommended the need for the government to invest more in technology in governance, noting that such efforts should be intentional, thoughtful, and strategic. The communique also called on the government to prioritize the training and retraining of public servants to keep pace with innovative problem-solving skills, even as the importance of an effective monitoring team to ensure compliance with the service rules should be taken into consideration by the government.
For public administration to become an antidote to socio-economic crisis in Nigeria, public sector governance, local government and rural development, business/human resource management, environmental administration and development studies, and public financial management and ethics must be considered.
On the conduct of credible elections, the communique called on the government at all levels to make effective and unbiased use of the security agencies, especially in intelligence gathering, to forestall security threats before, during, and after elections. It also emphasized the need for complete implementation of electronic voting, conduct of election-based issues in line with global best practices. Similarly, the communique made a case for the amendment of the 1999 Constitution to give more power to subnational governments and also to accommodate emerging issues such as state police and other critical national imperatives. The conference featured robust engagements on a wide range of issues bordering on national development, such as economy, politics, technology, environment, and security.
Nigeria's Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has arrested a couple for criminal conspiracy, fraud, and job scam in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. The couple allegedly scammed about 7,000 persons of millions of naira under the pretext of getting them into government jobs. Utubi Malkun reports.
The suspects, Mrs. Blessing Ezekiel Ubengama, aged 27, and her husband, Mr. Joseph Richard Uford, aged 46, were arrested by men and officers of NSCDC on Monday, 22nd July 2024 along IBB Way in Uyo. Akbc News gathered that the arrests were affected following complaints from members of the public of fraudulent extortion of sums of money by Mrs. Blessing Ezekiel and her accomplice, Mr. Joseph Richard Uford, with false promises of employment into the state civil service. The suspects were also alleged to use a fake NGO called Child Support Foundation, which they claimed was sponsored by UNICEF, to register about 7,000 children at the cost of 1,000 naira for each child for a supposed grant by UNICEF for children. Madam Blessing Ezekiel allegedly offered employment letters to hundreds of unsuspected victims from whom she had fraudulently collected the sum of 4,800 naira.
My name is Blessing Ezekiel Ubengama. I'm a native of Ukanafu local government in Nikotok Banafa, Akwa Ibom State. Actually, when I told them that there was a replacement in the state civil service, some of them indicated interest, so they come along, and said that they will work. Depends on the qualification of the person. The lowest I've collected is 10,000 naira. It's 500,000 naira. She said why there was no sharing formula, because she promised to give me the same job also, that I will be working as well in the state.
Trouble started when the supposed newly employed civil servants were not paid their salaries for months after the supposed employment. Neither was the child grant paid, nor was a promised agricultural support fund program forthcoming.
There are people that have been there before me. I worked for 2 months, no pay. During the chat, once you ask question, she will ask, who is this person? The director will say, the person is so person. The next thing, he will say, why must that person talk? Remove him. The end of it all, as I speak to you, we realize that all what she is doing is nothing but a scam, because this Dr. Helen Mbobo that she mentioned, he said that Helen Mbobo is an SSA to the governor on a civil service recruitment, of which there's nothing like that.
We were given a form, an employee's form to fill, and she charged us, and then she also charged us for the processing fee of 1,000 naira, and then 500 naira we had to pay for according to our biometrics and capturing. If you make a mistake in your employee's form, which was the employee's form was given to us for 2,000 naira, and then if you make a mistake, she would ask you to pay 5,000 naira for another form, which I know many people made mistakes.
Parading the suspect in Uyo, the state commandant of the NSCDC, Oluwade Oluyemi, condemned the act. The NSCDC boss emphasized that recruitment into any organization by Nigerian government or private organization is free, and citizens should desist from being lured to pay for non-existent jobs. He advised that citizens should always visit the government establishments voted for employment or check up vacancies on websites of organizations for verification of recruitment or employment. Oluwade assured the victims that the suspects will be made to refund all monies extorted from the victims of the employment scam and victims of the fraudulent NGO scam, after which they will be charged to court.
Some people came here they wrote petition concerning it to complain officially that somebody collected money for recruitment, and later some also came to come and complain by writing to us that they also collected 1,000 naira per child for UNICEF program. So it was an official thing, and about 7,000 children, money were collected from their parents, 1,000 times 7,000 children, and a lot of people also were scammed concerning job. Yes, after our investigation, we also plan to hand them over to EFCC for further investigation and prosecution.
Utubi Maukun, Akbc News.
Senate to hold emergency session Wednesday, July 31, on eve of nationwide protests against bad governance. Plus, Paris Olympics, the Tigers beat Australia. We have details of these and more after the break. Stay with us. Good to have you back. We bring you the rest of our stories. An interdenominational funeral has been held in Uyo in honor of a teacher and itinerant preacher, Apostle Joshua Israel, who was also known as the Mobile Bible. The service, which took place at the Ibibio Union Museum grounds, Udodoma Avenue, Uyo, was thronged by persons the late Apostle Joshua Israel mentored and led to Christ. The report.
The service featured congregational hymns, songs by the choir, prayers and testimonies from friends and brother Christian pastors.
So all of us who are gathered here, God has spoken through him to us and even to generations to come as we hear his testimony. Those of us who were very close to him, that you have heard, will know that he will stress the point of the kingdom. Nothing is not
In a sermon, the officiating minister, who spoke on the topic, "A time to be born and a time to die," dwelt on the need for Christians to live by biblical precepts in order to make it to heaven. The preacher paid tributes to the Christian life and selflessness of the deceased Apostle Joshua Israel.
I hope you live your life conscious that you will either die or the Lord will return.
In a biography read by his daughter Pilar, the deceased was described as one who surrendered his life to Christ at the T.L. Osborne crusade tagged "Destined for Greatness" in 1973. The biography mentioned the late Apostle Joshua Israel's contributions to pioneering Christian mission fields in Taraba State, parts of northern Cameroon, as well as his devotion to pastoring the rural poor. He was said to have served in Uyo, House of Prayer, until he became the state coordinator of intercessors for Nigeria in 1997. The deceased was said to have devoted his life to teaching those he mentored at Udobasi Street, Uyo, called the Ecclesia. Apostle Israel Joshua retired from the service of Akwa Ibom State government as a senior principal at the West Itam Secondary School, Ekritam 2.
Until this period, the Christian Fellowship established an interdenominational fellowship in his hometown, Ikefa Primary School, and was teaching the children every Sunday evening.
He is survived by a wife, Ememabong, daughter, Pilar, and several relations.
I will miss his teaching. I have never met a teacher of the word like him. I've seen that within and outside the body. I know that he was specially gifted in the scripture.
His remains were later interred in his country home.
President Bola Tinubu has signed the newly approved 70,000 naira national minimum wage into law. The president assented to the bill today during the Federal Executive Council meeting attended by members of the cabinet and the leadership of the National Assembly led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio. The president's assent to the bill ends month of deliberations between government officials, labor unions, and the private sector. Labor unions had initially proposed 494,000 naira as new minimum wage, with the government offering 60,000 naira. After a series of negotiations, the organized labor demanded 250,000 naira, while government shifted grounds to 62,000 naira. On July 18, the federal government and organized labor reached a consensus figure of 70,000 naira, which will be reviewed every 3 years. The Nigerian Communications Commission has directed telecommunications operators to immediately restore all mobile phones lines blocked due to linkage of National Identification Numbers (NIN) to their SIM cards. The directive was contained in a statement by the Director of Media and Public Affairs, Ruben Muoka. Aggrieved subscribers had besieged offices of telecoms operators across the country today to express their frustration and disappointment over the blockage of their phone lines. The decision of the telecom companies is in abiding by an earlier directive of the Nigerian Communications Commission to disconnect subscribers' identity module numbers not linked to their name, which was scheduled to take effect on July 31, 2024. The Amnesty International has warned against threatening protesters, saying doing so would undermine the legacy of President Bola Tinubu. The group urged the citizens to have faith in the current administration noting that the president is committed to addressing the welfare and concerns of Nigerians. The chairman of Amnesty International in Nigeria, Awal Musa Rafsanjani, commended security agencies for democratically conducting themselves so far. The protest is scheduled to be held from August 1 to August 10 across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Already, security agencies have held a meeting with President Tinubu, rallying traditional rulers, governors and religious, as well as opinion leaders to the president's cause. The protesters are bent on storming the state to register their grievances over the high cost of living, poverty index and worsening inflation figures, among other economic indices. Amid these concerns, the Amnesty International boss believes that violence is never a solution. So he called on the government and security agencies to provide security cover to the protesters to avoid a situation whereby hoodlums could take advantage of the situation. Meanwhile, Senate President Godswill Akpabio has called for an emergency meeting of the Senate to be held on Wednesday, July 31, being the eve of the planned nationwide protest against bad governance in the country. The internal circular for the meeting is signed by the clerk, Chinedu Akbc. While the meeting is talked of national importance without further details. It would be recalled that the National Assembly had commenced a 7-week recess and is expected to reconvene on September 17, 2024. President Bola Tinubu has approved the sale of crude oil to Dangote and other refineries in Naira, a new directive to promote the trade of crude oil using the local currency. Federal Inland Revenue Service boss SAC Adedeji disclosed this after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Bola Tinubu in Abuja today. He said the measure will reduce the strain on the country's foreign spendings and stabilize the pump price of petrol, diesel and other products in Nigeria. Adedeji said the president ordered that state-owned NNPCL begin immediate implementation of the directive to boost local production of refined petroleum products in Nigeria. The Tigers of Nigeria have beaten the Opals of Australia 75-62 in the women's basketball at the Paris Olympics. Point guide Ezinne Kanu produced a clutch performance, inspiring the Reina Wakama coach team to withstand the Aussies at Perry Memorial Stadium today. The victory was Nigeria's first at the game since Athens 2004. Ezinne Kalu finished the game with 19 points and 5 rebounds, helping Nigeria to a memorable win over the third best team in the world. The Tigers will first host France in their next Group B match on Thursday before a showdown against world number 5 Canada next Monday. And that's the size of our package this evening. But before we go, a quick look at the top stories. Governor Moino has tasked elected executive in the just concluded World Congress of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Akwa Ibom State to ensure absolute loyalty and commitment to the ideals of the party at the grassroots. The governor, who is also the leader of the party in the state, gave the task at his Ibiakpan Obotem Ward 2 in Serubium local government area, where he participated in the exercise. We also brought you a report that the Nigerian Communications Commission has directed telecommunications operators to immediately restore all mobile phones lines blocked due to non-linkage of national identification numbers (NIN) to their SIM cards. The directive was contained in a statement by the Director of Media and Public Affairs, Ruben Mooka. That's all we have for you tonight. We really appreciate your company. I am Juliet Richard. Good night.